All right, so it feels like a day after winning the AFCONs. that's what it feels like for Nigerians.
Yeah.
That semi-final match between Nigeria and Bafana of South Africa just felt like the finals, all right? Because Nigerians were jubilating, and we're still jubilating. So with that excitement, that joy, we say welcome, good morning to you. Welcome to VOP this morning. I am Moses Humphrey.
I am Fina Okechukwu. Good morning.
Fina
I'm
doesn't
smiling.
sound happy this morning.
Why
but
won't
that's
I
fine.
be happy?
That's fine.
Actually, I said that when I was doing my prediction yesterday, if you remember, David, I was of the opinion that Nigeria is going to win 2-1. I was not really happy when they moved to that penalty kick.
Your
Yeah.
predictions didn't work.
But what is it? We
You see
won.
why?
We won.
But you know, interestingly, right?
It would have been 2-1.
She was the only person that was coming to my head when the game got to 120 minutes. Because I heard her say,
I don't want the
like
penalty
this penalty
kick."
thing. And then I started becoming nervous. Like, it was a
yeah, too.
very, very nervous
But on and on,
game.
you know that my prediction works because it was 2-1 initially. If actually
When was
they
it
added,
2-1?
No,
if
it
they
was 1-1.
added that goal that we scored, that they said it wasn't
right.
a goal before the penalty.
David Edwin is my name. A very good morning to you all. And it's a beautiful day, beautiful Thursday. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a Nigerian, particularly with the excitement all around when it comes to the AFCON 2023. We're excited.
We are excited, most definitely. And Sunday, we'll crown it all. On Sunday, when Nigeria goes into the pitch to face the host, Côte
Again,
d'Ivoire.
for the second time.
Yeah, it was a narrow escape the first time. So second time, we'll figure out if truly the Super Eagles will come home with the cup. And talking about that one, before we go into what we're talking about today, I don't know if you noticed, the vice president was right there.
He
And
was.
some people were of the opinion that there's so much pressure. You know, Peter Obi was there for the last match, and and then the president had to send the vice. So some are linking it that it feels like this administration is under pressure, to compete and to please, and the vice president going. Now, another set of people were of the opinion that is this even a good time for the number 2 man to travel to go watch football?
When there's so much unrest in
You
the state.
cannot please Nigeria.
Someone says a man whose eyes is on fire does not chase rats.
Oh well, he's chasing Bafanas. Banana. All right then, well let's look at some stories that we'll be sharing this morning.
Oh yes, court orders Nigerian government to fix prices of goods and petroleum products. That is one of the talking points of what we will be talking about really today. And
We have a second story to be ECOWAS must sanction Senegal for illegal postponement of election. Falana.
All right, so these are the stories on our radar this morning. But first, we'd like you to subscribe to our page on YouTube. It's Voice of the People TV. Go ahead and engage with us. Let us know your thoughts on the stories that we've shared in the past, today, everything that we're talking about. Be part of the conversation right there. And we'll also be having some guests in the studio to look at the stories that we will be talking about today. But before we get into these talking points, let's look at what the papers are saying.
Oh, well, yes, we have to dive into what the papers are saying this morning. And the first we would be looking at is the Daily Independent. Now, the banner headline here reads, Reps propose mandatory electronic transmission of poll results. And that's, for me, is a good one. A good one. Above the nameplates there, you find, most interestingly, court orders federal government to fix prices of goods within 7 days. Well, that's about our talking point this morning as well. Above the nameplate still, Senate gives Finance Minister 7 days to account for 100 billion naira gas project funds. And then you find a pictorial where you have, of course, on top of it, Super Eagles qualify for the 8th AFCON final. All right, still telling you the headlines right there at the front page of the Daily Independent. Tinubu renewed hope turning to renewed anger. And this is coming from the APC chieftain, where he also says that party dishonest in beaming opposition for protests. All right. You find also fan boss advocates single screening process for passengers. Okay. And then on Kogi, CSOs warns EFCC against counterworms of previous management. That sounds interesting. NNPC celebrates 14,000 PDBs production from Apple West Field. While you also find on Bodija's explosion, 3 persons of internet identified to be prosecuted. Okay. All right, the final headline here on the Daily Independent is rising inflation. Northern elders urge Tinubu to curb corruption, wasteful spending in government.
All right. Well, talking about the Bodija explosion and 3 persons, 4 foreigners, they are that have been identified. Nigerians are, keeping their eyes on that one, hoping to see a proper prosecution of these foreigners who apparently came into the country under the employ of a certain organization to mine and storing explosive that has cost people lives and properties, unfortunately so. But anyway, Northern elders urging Tinubu to curb corruption, wasteful spending in government. Interesting headline, if you ask me, because in the previous administration, you do recall, a lot of excesses were attributed to the North. We have the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, whose brother right now is undergoing investigation for 8 billion naira project. 3 billion has been found in his account, frozen. And then projects for airports, projects that were not carried out really. So, but it's a good thing that they're also calling for an end to corruption.
But all the same, looking at the Tinubu's renewed hope turning into renewed anger. This is coming from a chieftain of APC. I don't know. Is it that they are now trying to tell us that some of them are not really they are not really doing well?
You don't know.
Why I have to say that is he's not the first person that come up to talk about this present or the issue of our APC government. The last one we had was from the former chieftain too, criticizing the former administration. Even Dave Umai also says that this present administration also picked a lot of, what will I call it now, bad policies from the previous administration. So I think they are blaming themselves over this particular one.
Well, if they are blaming themselves, we do know that Tinubu said he was going to continue from where his predecessor stopped.
By hitting the ground rolling.
So that's like a statement hanging on very strong ground. So if they start blaming themselves, it's quite a very interesting one.
All right, let's go on to another daily now. Quickly, I will be stopping at the Punch, Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The banner headline here, in fact, I'm stuck on the cover page. The pictorial there. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm still living in this euphoria. Don't blame me.
Quite a nervy game, I must say.
Oh yes, my heart was pounding. It was pounding.
I am never an advocate of penalty. In fact, when the football match gets to penalty, you just lose me.
Oh.
And I thought
I was the only one.
I feel the odds have not really been in favor of Oseni.
Again,
the odds have not been in his favor.
I honestly think that the odds, if you want to stream it down to goal scoring, true. But when it comes to his work rate in that team...
Of course, he's a vital part of the team.
He is.
Oh, well, so the Victoria there has Nwabali shines as Nigeria beats South Africa to reach AFCON final. And, you'll see him there trying to parry a ball. And then Troost Ekong celebrating that goal, and the team also celebrating. Some Nigerians I can't even see these. Oh well, some Nigerians, of course, celebrating that. But let's look at the banner headline, of course. Forex crisis, EFCC, 7,000 man task force, I beg your pardon, EFCC 7,000-man task force goes after dollar racketeers. EFCC summons private varsities, proprietors, companies, others charging dollar fees. Government agencies violating law on forex too. NESG tells commission. Airlines promise compliance. Now, talking about this, we do know that there are certain institutions.
Oh,
that, some schools charging dollar.
I saw that a couple of days ago, and that caught my attention. I started wondering, okay, so we start charging dollars?
Oh no, we've always
They've been doing
we've
that.
always done that.
In
We've always done that.
Nigerian
Yeah,
schools?
I
I
mean,
had to look up the American International, even though this is an international body, well, you know, stationed in Nigeria. There's a school, American International School, somewhere on the island. I had to look up their fees this morning. Their fees, as of, I know they charge in dollars.
Oh, really?
Yes, they even pay their workers in dollars, dollar equivalent.
Wow.
Some of the
Their
teachers.
workers.
And then I had to look this up. I mean, growing up then, there was a friend of mine who was an instrumentalist there, and I envied the guy. I envied the man, because right here in Nigeria, he was earning some dollar change, teaching children how to play the trumpet. I'm like, why don't I know how to
But
play
my question
an
now
instrument?
is that really legal?
Well, it's a bit dicey for me to say whether it's legal or not.
Really?
Because this is
Honestly.
an international
Organization.
school,
Yes.
though resident in Nigeria.
I know
So,
Wigwe
is it
was a
legal?
new one as well. That's
Okay. Oh well. Is it legal to charge in dollars? Should they have the naira equivalent? Well, as I was saying, looking at their fees for this year, for 2022 into 2023, middle school, that's grade 6 to 8, were charged $28,049.
oh wow.
High school, $32,165. That's high school is grade 9 to 12. Yeah. And then special assessment fee, $10,486 US dollars. And then annual capital levy, $3,000. You know, so they charge in dollars. I know some other institutions. Now, if they are charging in dollars, and some other institutions that are copying the international standard, albeit resident in Nigeria, and trying to compete with some other institutions, wouldn't they want to charge in dollars as well? Big question. And now EFCC is going down on them. Those are charging dollars, issue receipts in dollars. Now, the one that annoys me is clothing companies, designers who sell clothes in dollars. That's
And it's
Invoices
interesting to
in
note
dollars,
now
you know.
that this, I just see here that there's a CBN Act that states that only naira is an acceptable currency as a legal tender in the country.
Oh yes.
So what
Oh,
that
yes.
simply means
Yes.
is it's illegal.
It is illegal.
illegal.
Okay. All right. So that headline there. Let's look on top of the nameplates, where we have Tinubu inaugurates student loan scheme February 21. 500,000 jobs threatened over ban on sachet alcoholic drinks. MAN, that's a Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Government approval delays Dangote refinery fuel. Government approval. All right then. Oyo to prosecute 3 held over Ibadan explosion. Okada riders, policemen clash as Lagos enforces ban. All right. And then cashless transactions rise to 611 trillion naira or 61.1 trillion?
61.1 trillion.
61.1 trillion. Okay. So 61.1 trillion naira. That's according to NIBSS. All right. But Okada riders and policemen, the ban is still in place. The ban in certain areas is still in place.
Yeah.
But I think poverty is the driving force here, where
True.
people need to feed.
Exactly.
People need to make a living. So they get their Okadas, they get their motorcycles back on the street, trying to earn a living. And I also know that in certain areas, they collude with the police force, where they come together, arrange some sort of money, the representative of the Okada riders in that environment give it to the DPO, and they are allowed to
run
operate
freely.
Yes, to operate within inner streets and all of that. So that in itself further diminishes the laws put in place by Lagos State. And then maybe when things go out of hand, now that they're having a clash with the policemen, probably in that area, I don't know which area, I don't know which area this was. Probably they don't have the money to pay for what they used to pay, and it makes it even difficult for laws to be upheld.
And you know,
where those that are meant to execute the laws are also found flouting those laws. We even see Okada men, policemen, ride Okadas.
Yeah.
Maybe not for commercial purpose, but they move around in it.
In it, yes.
But one actually want to look at it this way. I think if the government want to take out anything like this bike rider, something like that, why not actually get them something else to lay their hands on? Because it's kind of strict when you wake up and say, for example, in Abuja then, I could remember when the FCT minister came in and said, no more bikes in some areas. And they gather all the bikes that they confiscated from these riders and they destroy them without giving them any other thing to say, this is what you guys will do. And one we want to ask, then how do you expect these people, we are voice of the people, we want to give the people their voice, and we even want their voice to be heard more. Now, how would they now survive? What do you expect them to do? Because, man, it's disheartening, but God help Nigeria, like you used to say.
All right, then. Well, we have Tosin Ejalunibu on the streets of Nigeria to sample the opinion of Nigerians. Tosin, good morning to you. What's a Nigerian saying? Well, Tosin,
It's that morning after the Super Eagles got to the final of the 2023 African Cup of Nations, and we are still basking in the euphoria of that victory. But I want to hear from you this morning. I'm here in the streets of Lagos. I want to hear from you. What's that news headline? What is that news item that this morning? What is that news story that interests you this morning? A couple of things in the news this morning. The EFCC has set up a 7,000-man to go after dollar racketeers. And the court has also ordered the federal government to fix the prices of fuel and goods within 7 days. These are some of the things in the news this morning. But let's hear from you, Nigerians. Let's hear from you. Let's look at that news story that interests you this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Nigeria.
I want to find out, what's your name, sir?
My name is Kingsley Matthias.
Mr. Kingsley, what's that news item that interests you?
Actually, I just yesterday Super Eco match actually gave me a joy, gave me impression so much because I've not actually believed that Super Eco could able to win the match. So yesterday, joy and happiness is what actually drive out outside. So I came in front of the newspaper line to just check the victory of Super Eagles yesterday. And I want to have to say to all Nigerians and also the leader of the nations that if they can able to impress us, at least to put a support, and in terms of prices in the market in the country, and looking at the country right now, the country is so bad and so down. And I can see the people coming to set up the only thing that gave us joy as a nation, Nigeria, as a youth, is actually this match. If there's nothing any out match, we wouldn't have come outside to just watch the victory. If you look at the face of people, you know that people are really suffering and the price of things are high and no money, and everybody's just angry. So I'm just to have this to say that nations, that Nigeria and the leaders of this country should do something to support the youth, and that is why I just came around here this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. You can hear from him. This is what interests him. He's still talking about the Super Eagles, and he's also speaking about the state of the economy. But let's hear from another Nigerian what they think about what's going on in the news. Let's hear from another Nigerian news. Let's hear from another Nigerian this morning on what is going on, what interests them, what tickles their fancy this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Joseph.
Joseph, what interests you in the news this morning?
The news of hunger. The hunger in this country is very too much. No money for transport, no money for fuel, no money for anything in this country like that. The news of spy goes to itself. Without people enough joy like that. But now I'm about to go to work. Now I'm about to go to work now. I know money for transport. The price of this is cost. Price of it is cost. Part and pay yourself. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. You can hear from Joseph. This is another Nigerian speaking this morning about what interests them in news this morning. For Voice of the People TV, Oluwatosin Ejalonibu. Back to the studio.
All right then, big thanks to Tosin there and Nigerians, of course, bearing their minds on some of these issues. Nigerians are really, not happy with a lot of things going on. So, oh well, let's get back to some of that. Let's take another headline before we wrap up the newspaper review segment.
Okay.
All right, and we have to look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper today, we have on top of the nameplate, it says Nwaba Ali, hero, as Nigeria beats South Africa and reaches final. Okay, we have the lead story, which is about a headline. It says, court orders FG to fix prices. Inflation as agitation heightens, and you can see that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Another story says NNPCL targets 14,000 BPD from Apo West Field as oil production commences. And we have a rerun situation room slams INEC, says a pre-field result sheet dents Commission's image. And we have a story, undergraduates JSS1 students commit suicide in Ogun State. Oh, wow. That's a bad news. CSOs, eminent citizens, flays presidents, governors' use of public funds for private trips. We have another story that says that a man seeks immediate reversal of ban on sachet, pet bottle spirit drinks. Another interesting story there says INC stakeholders decries fresh phase of in Rivers. EFCC moves against invoice and dollar naira mutilation. We have the last but not the least story that says court orders how breaches in police compliance frustrate justice system. And there's a pictorial here, and this pictorial is about the food item, their old price and the recent price that you can get them in the market. Saying that this one is talking about 28.92% inflation over the food prices, and we have another one that says food inflation 33.93%, and official rate of 1,418 naira 78 kobo per the meal. I think the bag of rice now, 50 kg bag of rice before now was 35,000 naira.
Oh, yes.
And now it is
Gone up to about 65, 70 in some places.
Imagine 85% price increase.
You know, that's quite worrisome. Sometimes when I think of this, I ask a very direct question. So if the minimum wage stays at 30,000 naira, a Nigerian that has a family of 5 can't even afford a bag of rice.
Of course. But you use 1 month to buy the bag, keep it. I mean, in fact, save up for 2 months, buy the bag.
Do you understand?
Anyway, let's wrap up
We will
the
survive.
newspaper review segment. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Because we keep saying we will survive. And we're being choked. Oh well. We must say a very big thank you to you for staying with us, and also let us know what you think about the headlines being shared today on our page on YouTube. It's Voice of the People TV up on YouTube. And don't forget, you can also use other social media platforms on Twitter, X, as it is now. We are at VOP TV Live, and on Instagram as well, at VOP TV Live. Up next on VOP this morning.
A federal high court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, has ordered the President Bola Tinubu administration to fix the prices of goods and petroleum products within 7 days. Details when we return.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics, and the economy. sports, and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays.
All right, welcome back. It's still VOP this morning. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the day. A federal high court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, has ordered the president, Bola Tinubu's administration, to fix the prices of goods and petroleum products within 7 days. Now, Justice Louis Alagua granted the order, sequel to an originating motion filed and argued by the applicant, human rights activist Femi Falana SAN. The judge ordered the Nigerian government to fix the price of milk, flour, salt, sugar, bicycles and its spare parts, matches, motorcycles and its spare parts, motor vehicles and its spare parts, as well as petroleum products, which include diesel, PMS, and kerosene. All right, so now, price fixing. Well, I do have with us, we do have with us in the studio two great gentlemen. We have Olusegun Okwade, who is a policy public affairs commentator, and Dr. Ganiu Oluwashola, who is a managing partner, KJB Professional Services, and he's also here in the capacity of a public affairs commentator. Good morning to you. Good to have you with us in the studio.
Good morning, Moses and Fina, and nice having you.
I'm going to start with you, Olusegun. Fixing prices. First of all, we'll talk about how effective that will be. But let's look at the things mentioned for now. Milk, I can understand. Sugar, I can accommodate. Motorcycle and, I mean, Okada that is even banned in some parts. And vehicles, doesn't that seem like a targeted a policy targeted at certain individuals who are importers of these things?
Well,
And how effective really? How does that even put food on the table of Nigerians?
before I come to respond to your question, let me start on a very bright note by congratulating the Super Eagles.
Oh yes.
At least that will take me off this pressure. Yesterday was pressurized, but I came out victorious. And I feel that it set the day right for me as an individual with the victory of the Super Eagles. At least we are able to, everyone that is actually caging us as a country, God will save us as one valley saved that goal. And then we'll be able to move on.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Back to your question. I was thinking you in that prologue, which I too read yesterday, you'll see matches.
Because we still import matches. We still import toothpicks.
So it gives you an overview of where we are as a nation. The first question is, why do we need the courts to give an injunction when we have a price control agency saddled with the responsibility and acted by the law to actually monitor activities? Is a failure on the path of that agency, of which we have said severally that most of the agency have suddenly turned to where a money-making venture where everybody gets in there and look at the beats that they can see. If you look at the Nigeria Orientation Agency, while we're growing up, we know them for certain specific things. There are certain songs we listen to them that today still resonate on us. And it's just a function of the National Orientation Agency coming out to talk about how Nigeria can be good, how Nigeria can be good, how you can have confidence, how you can build value as a nation. Same is applicable with the price control agency. You are saddled with the responsibility to monitor the influx of things. But I know there will be a defense. What is there to monitor when we are not producing anything locally? But you discover that an average businessman in the country is a capitalist. They want to seize the opportunity of whatever that is going on to lash onto individuals, knowing fully well that there is inconsistency in the policy of the government. This that the court is actually pronouncing, I ask myself, are we addressing that issue, or we should talk to government who have suddenly, I'm sure you heard about the custom and excise rate being increased. You talked about moving in line with dollar.
Oh yes, oh yes.
These are basic things I feel we need to first address, because you can't be controlling the price. Are you going to pay subsidy again to those that are importing these goods? Sugar is being imported. All the items that are mentioned, that none, I say none, is produced locally. And they all use foreign exchange to buy.
Individuals who actually have companies producing these things locally. Dangote is one of them.
You ask yourself the question, majority of the raw materials are actually imported. That's
Sugar
where you
cane
need
we
to
have
go.
in the north.
Sugar that you have in the north, they will tell you that the beginning of it is that you have certain things that cannot. Why is Dangote going to buy crude oil that you have in excess in your country from US? Most of the time, you discover that the illegal access to some of those products go to other countries, while those that actually produce locally import some of these things behind the scene. So for me, it's not about court giving that injunction, because you can do that. The individuals that are selling this product are in the business to make profit. And at the same time, they go through thick and thin to get the foreign exchange before they can have access to those things that they have.
Doctor, let's get your own view on this price fixing. Will this help the price of things right now in Nigeria, and how will this affect importers?
That's a beautiful...
And also have a competitive market still.
It's a brilliant question. When you look at it literally, it's good. It's the right way. And when you look at the section 4, subsection 1 of the Price Control Act, which talks about the price control shall be imposed on goods as specified in the first schedule of the Act. And when you look at the list of what is specified in the first schedule of the Act, we have flour there, we have milk, we have salt, we have matches, there's no sugar there. We have motor vehicle and its part, we have bicycle and its part, we have motorcycle and its part, and petroleum product. There's no even sugar there, right? So you cannot also jurisdicate outside what the law has said, right? And doing that, you need to enact another law or add another law or do a finance act that will be able to add to what we have on ground to be able to do it. So as it may be, as it looks very good, we will see also that the government can also, yes, this is the right thing to do, all things being equal, ceteris paribus. However, you see that most of these products are being controlled by the forces of demand and supply, right? Not by a government ability or structure, not that we have enough production somewhere, enough company producing it. They are being controlled by the forces of demand and supply. And when you look at even the petroleum product, when the government comes in and says that, let me try to regulate the price, and say let's allow the forces of demand move into. So petroleum it quickly jumped from 200 or something to 500. Fine, that is the base. Dollar increases. So the whole thing was driving a while. They said, hey, let's catch some senses there. So they now have to subsidize from behind to ensure that the prices are stable, reasonable at a specific time. And now the importers and the retailers were saying, oh, dollars are increasing. What the government is subsidizing from the back end, it's not enough again. We are going to throw caution into the wind. So when you now look at it, historically, to control those prices, we need to also look at it that do we have the capacity? It's a good judgment that Femi Falana got, senior advocate of Nigeria. But the question is that is it practicable? Is it achievable? Is it attainable?
So what do you think will be the challenges of implementing all this, the price control policy in Nigeria, especially in this present economic
The
situation?
question is that we are a consuming economy. The price control act was done when we are producing more, right? We are a consuming economy, and we have some unnecessary and wild appetite for importation. Right, I've heard of a person before that said everything that was used to build his house, the only thing that was not imported is sand. So you could see the appetite we have for importation. So if that should be the case, I imported something for sale, right? And you are telling me that I should peg a price. Pegging a price is going to erode my profit. I may even go to a loss. So you cannot control something unless you now tell me that from behind you are going to give me a subsidy. Because everybody is in business to make money. And so if I'm in business to make money and you want to control something that will turn me to a loss, I'd rather cross shop.
Okay.
So you don't think that this the fixed price policy thing, price control policy thing that we're talking about, don't you think it's going to bring out this competitiveness and profitability in the local industry?
It will bring competitiveness in a situation. Even competitiveness has to also do with the forces of demand and supply.
Then that's
and breaking the yoke or the bond of monopoly. That's what will strengthen competitiveness. But putting price, okay, look at now. The government put a price control on petroleum products, right? A lot of people, and the whole thing is still, as we speak now, 2 days ago, you see queues returning to the filling stations, right?
Oh, yes.
People are already agitating. And when you look at it, most of them become panic buying or information we had that is not being substantiated. So all things being equal, it is good. It helps the lower cadre. It helps the masses that does not have the control. So they will be able to know that by and large, I have the capacity to buy this thing. Right? But in a situation where the government is not giving a backup, I produce my electricity myself, I ensure I source for forex to be able to transact my business. And you now said in the long run, you want to dictate or determine the price I'm going. I will agree with you if you are going to subsidize it from behind, then we actually agree on a level of, it's going to be good for especially the low masses, people that does not have the wherewithal into it, because
But the
they'll be able
business
to
people-
plan their life,
but the
they'll be
business
able
people
to
will
plan
have a
their
problem.
salary, right? But in a situation, but the government will come from behind and subsidize. And when you look at subsidy, it's what is good. However, we are not looking at people just take advantage of it to siphon the money for themselves and abuse the process, because there is no system to be able to monitor
Regulate.
who is due to take
To
to
what?
be given the subsidy or not. Because during the subsidy, why they say the subsidy is scam, we have a lot of filling station or marketer that are collecting subsidy and they never drop a fuel inside any car. And subsidy is still going. So there's no system to monitor.
All right, let me come back to you now, Mr. Okwade. Now, you also did allude to this just over the weekend. We saw the CBN readjust the exchange rate on customs platform from 1,356 naira to $1 to 1,413 naira to $1, and that was twice within 24 hours, actually, if you look at it. Now, with this, and you also do know, earlier in the week, customs was given, there was talk about increasing the revenue target of the customs, which in fact will imply that they want to make more money off activities at the ports. Now, with this price control, shouldn't we be afraid of substandard products coming into the country? And how really will this affect importers of the things mentioned there, parts, vehicle parts?
Yeah.
Vehicle in particular. I mean, I'm not very concerned about motorbikes because that has been banned in some places. But vehicle, safety of human beings as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. What you raised is germane. And when you have this kind of inconsistency on the part of the government that affects the growth of every business, it's ineminent to have substandard product pervading the ground. I'm sure you remember during the period of the former NAFDAC person, when what's this woman's name? Akuyele. Dora. You saw what actually happened. Even it was not as bad as this. But the fact remains that people looked at the shortest possible means of making more margin. That was the period we started seeing people putting powder inside some of these drugs that are enclosed.
It's even back now, because they just found out that there's a malaria drug now, chloroquine now, that doesn't have any atom of any pharmaceutical ingredient in it. It's back. Yeah.
It's because you try to tame the businessman. And like I said, take it or have it. No businessman loves anyone. They are all capitalists. Because the essence of going into the business is to create more wealth for yourself. And you look at every avenue, they will tell you that the same product you get from China. I'm sure you know that in US and Europe, China is one of the major hub of production for them.
Materials, yes.
But there is a standard organization, agency for some of this country that checks the activity of what they do. I have opportunity of relating with people that go to China, and they will tell you, okay, this is the standard. This is what your people from your country, Nigeria, are asking us to do. And this is what we're giving to you. You cannot compare the Toyota that goes to Europe with that comes to this country. A lot of those challenges that we have when it comes to product. Now we are talking about increasing the custom fee. As we speak, a lot of those custom agents are already crying. How can you just increase something within 24 hours, all because you want to generate revenue? We've asked the question. Generating of revenue is good because that's an area where we play fine. But how much of this revenue are judiciously used to develop the economy in such a way that we can know, we will know that we are facing this problem in a temporary form and to gain it in the nearest future? But no, it's the answer. We all heard May 29, subsidy is gone. A lot of revenue has been generated through this issue of subsidy removal. We heard as at December, is it November, December, of over 8 trillion. And as we speak, not specific. Not specific. So how can we be generating revenue and there is no commensurate project or something that the funds are actually being used for? Rather, we see an average individual being impoverished with the inconsistency in the policy of the government and affecting the businessman. As we speak, a lot of people are actually closing down shops because you buy something today at 10 naira and you are putting a margin of 2 naira to sell at 12 naira. But you heard that that same product you are planning to sell at 12 naira, for you to restock is already at 15 naira. So, as a businessman, Moses, let's leave the aspect of saying they are exploiting us. Because when I get out, people will say, no, it's because you are comfortable. I say, no, it's just a business sense because I'm one. So you don't expect that man who had an old stock to sell the same product at 12 naira, even though he bought that particular thing at 10 naira. He needs to have a focus of, I am going to restock at 15 naira. So you see him coming to the level of saying, I am selling at 17 naira. So that he can still meet the target of, if he has been restocking 100. Because the essence of adding margin to it is that I'm starting with 100 products for this particular time. Let me add this margin so that when I'm going back, I can add about 105. That's to tell you that your business is growing. But as we speak, with some of the policies that we are seeing out there, businesses are actually crying. There is nothing that we are producing, and we are not seeing the green light to tell us that these are basic things that we'll see in the nearest future being produced. Every of the activities that we know that can be made locally are being imported. As a matter of fact, people will tell you that I have confidence in locally made products. But are they available? You know, there are phases you can go through to say, okay, let's give it a try. These things are made locally. Let me patronize even my local made thing. But are they available? Do you want to talk about the cost of production that you have 24 hours being, running on alternative power supply? These are the inconsistency that we have. And for me, price control cannot work. Because you cannot determine the prices for, even though they are basic things that are entrenched in the law. The only way that can be done, of which people like us will not subscribe to, is you telling us that you will start subsidizing. Moses, we were here in December when we're talking about subsidizing for transportation. Where is the data of the people that actually plowed that? What have we paid on it? But 50% subsidy was actually granted. Yes, a lot of people have cashed out with that. I'm sure if you go and ask someone, we have one of the major players there, my friend, a professional colleague, who said he has at least about 50 buses running a specific area, but they have not been contacted. But I can tell you that behind the scenes, certain funds has actually gone at that particular period. What we keep saying is that some of the policy, because of the inconsistency, tends to be enriching certain individuals against the generality of the public, and that's what government needs to watch out for.
Okay, Dr. Gani, do you think, you actually made mention of us being a consuming economy instead of the producing one. What do you think the government needs to do differently now, given the fact that the economic crisis is actually increasing and a lot of people are moving into protests, even in the north and somewhere even in the southwest? So what do you think the government needs to do, differently this time around to avoid escalation of the protest and Nigerians taking law into their hands?
Brilliant question. You see, one of the things is just like we need to strengthen our production, our economy, right? You see, if we don't have enough to feed our teeming populations, we will need to import more. But the question is that how do we strengthen? Oh, there was a time the CBN governor was saying that, don't just leave this thing, because we have two principal weapons to tackle the country. We have the fiscal policy and the monetary policy. Before now, we blame the former CBN governor because he tried to use even the monetary policy to do what the fiscal policy would do. And you cannot do that. You see, we have some challenges, which is majorly security challenges. How do we tackle it? Farmers are not able to go to farm. How do they meet up with productions? They can produce yam, they can farm for yam, the rices are they can't do the rice, they can't do tomatoes. So even an average farmer they took to farm and they were kidnapped. So all these things, when you look at it that, all these things needs to be put in proper perspective. Ensure that our security apparatus are strengthened. I was discussing with some in a forum, and I said that, when you see here today, they say they rescue XYZ from the kidnapper. Then the question is that, is it an angel or a devil that just kidnapped them and dropped them? They have not been at any point in time that they nip to the ball. The people that kidnapped them, yes, they sponsor us. We've not seen someone used as a deterrent. Right? So the question is that they just enter a place, they unpick them and say we have released them. Then the question is that until we come to a point and use some people as a deterrent, then we will not improve in our status, right, as a nation. And we are trying to win investors. Investors will only come to an environment where they know that their lives are secured and their property are secure and their investments are secured. Right? And with this, it will help us to be able to increase. At the early 80s, we have enough food. Farming is doing well. If you look at those developed countries, there's a particular place in the US, a community, what they eat in that community, they produce it there, they farm it there. Even people see it as a way to be able to do their life by farming, right? And when you look at also the Price Control Act, for me, it doesn't make sense. It's an arcade thing. The list of the things that were there are for the rich man. A poor man does not drink milk. What concerns him with milk?
No, but
milk?
No, but
it's
they
very
do. But
essential.
they do. Sachet.
Maybe for the children, not for the others.
Even the children, tell them that when I've had some people that the time they eat rice is when there's a festive period. Oh. Right. You see, we need to get some information, some statistics. Right, and you see, most of the things that should be loaded, control of yam. A tuber of yam goes to 5,000, 7,000 now. A tuber of yam. So it's no longer the poor man's food, it's the rich man's food.
There is no poor
right?
man's food.
So Gary now, a cup of Gary becomes now becomes very. So these are things. These are you know when we talk about the VAT Act, the VAT talks about some exempt goods. Mm-hmm. Right, and exempt goods means some raw goods and everything. The Gary thing, an average person should be able to access Gary. You see, when there's cassava, when cassavas are scarce now, you need to use cassava to produce Gary. These are little, and Gary is a multi-purpose. You can decide if you're from Ijebu, you can just shake it like that.
Like I do.
Just give me a cold water with groundnut.
Yes.
I'm good to go.
It's been said in that.
So you can use it to make a lot of things. You understand? So these are the things that need to be controlled, right? And even average people can have access to that, then it makes life easier for them.
So are you saying if the policy of controlling price were to be placed on some things like cassava, you think that will or the production of it or transportation of it from one place to another, do you think that will make more sense?
The question is that are we producing? Are the farmers able to go to farm? And you know, to make the matters worse, during the MFLA regime, it said, okay, we want to focus on this. We are giving them loan, right? Some businessmen change their clothes. They pull off their suit and say, we are now a farmer. And they took the loan. Some goes to some island to buy houses. So the question is that putting a square hole a square peg in a round hole, it does not make sense because we don't have policy, a system, just a system in place to be able to monitor things. How do we separate a farmer from a businessman? Right? Okay. How do we monitor it? How do we know that this money does not go to some certain specific people? You will remember also the World Bank says that the 800 million that was secured to be able to help for subsidy, that 99.9% in the statistics have not been given to the beneficiaries. So where do we go from there? Right? And you know, that's why I said that at times, you might not blame the president because the reports they give to him is what he rely on.
But he appoints some of the people.
He appoints some of, you see, I give a thumb up to Fashola when he was the governor of Lagos State. It's the real of governor of his side. Give you a contract, an appointment, and he will disguise to go there and check either overnight or during the day to check if you're actually carrying it. That's the system. And it's always on record that people will not do what you tell them to do. They only do what you supervise.
That is when competence come in. When you want to pick people who's supposed to be there.
Then we have competence and we have self-interest.
I want
Okay,
to pick
that
Shola
shows-
on that, because if you go the route of Fashola, the same was actually used for Ashiwaju. Lagos is not Nigeria. So as a governor, you can have a direct access over your commissioner, but not for minister. So if you have about 20 projects going on, as the president, you'll be moving up and down. That is why you see an average Nigerian challenging the president that what we need as we speak is to tame corruption. Moses, you are in this studio today. If Shola is made the senior special advisor to the president tomorrow morning, because things happen 24 hours, just the same way we have custom. If Shola is made the senior special advisor to the president on tourism, let me put it that way, and he's an accountant, be rest assured that the first set of contract, because Moses is close to him, you get an entitlement to it. And what happens? You suddenly build up a company. Like he said, a lot of people who are not farmers, but can prepare feasibility report and some news, and who are people who are very close to the corridor of power overnight, because there is a system failure.
Permit me to interrupt you here. We spoke to a farmer in a very popular farmer some time back, and he did say that some years, 2 years before this administration came into power, they went round farmers. They called farmers together to talk about how they can better produce goods, measures that can be put in place, what they need. And he was one of those that was contacted. And that gave the impression that the administration, meant well in terms of food production and all of that. But would you say there are things that have that are like a stranglehold on the effective production of goods and services within the country?
Okay, when he was contacted,
let's have this with
was it given?
Well, they were asked to send their proposals.
Was it given the requirement, the resources? There's one thing for you to be contacted and say that, oh, this is what I need. Did they actually supply all those things?
Well, he did say they were to be contacted after
the whole thing. And that would take me to say fantastic policies you have on your books as a country. When it comes to implementation, that devil behind the scene plays its role.
Let's have your
concluding
thoughts.
That's corruption. And that's why we keep saying that it is not about galvanizing people together to ask of their idea. Those fantastic ideas are there. The problem is always the time of implementation, and until we take the greed out of us to have,
which is
that,
the problem, actually.
is the greed. Because you see, someone wants to major in every aspect. Remember the allegation against a minister. So you ask yourself, as a minister, you are made, but you still feel that your organization as an individual must get certain contract from some certain set of
unfortunately, we'll have to wrap this up. We'll have to wrap this up in about 30 seconds. Can we get your concluding thoughts on this one?
You see, we've moved from crude farming. When you go to develop, it's mechanized farming. A whole acres of land, a truck goes there and also cultivate or make oats, and within a while, let us invest in mechanized farming. Not only train them, let also ensure that things are done appropriately. Not only should we say these are policy, implementations very correct, and the next one is that monitoring. To ensure that these things are done and we get results.
Thank you very much. We've been speaking with, sorry about that. We've been speaking with Mr. Olusegun Okwade, who is a policy public affairs commentator, and Dr. Gani Oluwashola, who is managing partner, KJB Professional Services. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be getting into other parts of the show where we will be looking at ECOWAS. Yes. ECOWAS and the call for sanction on Senegal for illegal postponement of elections. This is coming from Femi Falana, the senior advocate of Nigeria. This conversation when we come back. Stay with us.